Tuju. And he's talking about Kenya's biggest undoing in entrenching the politics of exclusion in governance system. That is all we have here pertaining politics. Dr. Masanga David, back to you.
Right, as we wait for Jane, okay, go ahead. Doc, go ahead. All right, okay. We seem to be having a bit of a technical hitch from Dr. Matsanga's side. So
no, I am here, Miriam.
All right, okay, right.
Thank you very much. We're stronger. One story that I have picked is Macau Mutua's story. I don't know whether someone can open it for me and Wesonga summarize it. Tell me what Macau Mutua seems to be saying. Dr. Fred Matiang'i is the teacher, is a man who can actually be a professor of politics. He has taught Ruto a very big lesson. Do you agree with that, Miriam?
Well, I think we've seen the CS for security just sticking internal affair, just sticking to what he's supposed to be doing. So as far as I know, Yang is just doing what he's supposed to be doing. So he's tried not to be engaged in the political dynamics we've seen in the country, but holding such a very sensitive docket, I think sometimes it might seem as though politics is overlapping. But I think Matiang'i is just doing what he's supposed to be doing. So yeah, so it happens that whatever he's doing that does not sit well in the section of politicians. I think he's just doing his job.
He's doing his job. But the job is costing him quite a lot of difficulties. What do you think? Is there the center? Is the center? Professor Onyari is the center holding? And unmute.
I'm saying, Dr. Masanga, my views are not different from what Miriam Ogutu said. Dr. Matiang'i has been given work to do, and he has done it very excellent, Dr. Masanga. And Masanga, when you speak the truth will set you free. Before the Parliamentary Security Committee, Dr. Masanga, Dr. Matiang'i spoke the truth. And that's why he's getting that kind of assessment from Professor Macau. If you briefly look at Dr. Matiang'i, all the assignment has been given from right away from the Ministry of Information and Communication, Dr. Masanga. Kenyans were reluctant to go for digital TV, Dr. Masanga. He woke up one morning and Dr. Masanga, he switched off the TVs, and now we are in digital, Dr. Masanga. He went to the Ministry of Education, Dr. Masanga. These days you receive a calling letter for your daughter's son on your telephone set, Dr. Masanga. See how he has handled the insecurity threat which was coming up at Laikibia. So, Dr. Masanga, I do agree with my brother from Nyamira that when you have been given work to do it. And he's doing it because he has got support from the president himself. And this is, if you want to follow and borrow a very good example on how you work with your team, here is you support them. You give freeway for them to work. And that's why Dr. Matiang'i is performing extremely very well, Dr. Masanga. And Dr. Masanga, if I were the one who would select someone to be a president of this country, Dr. Matiang'i is the guy, because he follows the law. And that's what Miriam has said. If you follow the law, if we have got rules, if we have got regulation, Dr. Masanga, you follow it. The deputy president was saying that we had downgraded and we had taken all the security. He came out and he revealed, and we found out that the deputy president has got 257 security officers, Dr. Masanga. So I concur with Professor Makau. I submit.
Thank you very much. This question of the farms, they seem not to be, people seem not to be looking for water on the medium. There are more motives than the water and the animals. How do you put it?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Masanga. And of course, in the question of Laikipia, we cannot just rule out the possibility that someone could be aiming actually that communal land. And we even saw the Rift Valley County Commissioner, the Rift Valley Regional Commissioner, rather George Natembea, saying that there must be politics, there must be someone who is eyeing these lucrative land. And when you read about the article of Professor Makau Mutua, where he christens Dr. Matiang'i as the philosopher king, he says Dr. Matiang'i calmly defrocked and exposed Mr. Ruto as a hustler hypocrite who lives larger than the dynasties. And that gets me back to that list of properties that Dr. Matiang'i actually revealed or laid bare before the parliamentary committee. And we saw in the same particular area, actually the Deputy President, William Ruto, owns a very massive piece of land there. And that that is not to accuse him, but just to bring the political angle in it. If the Deputy President can afford almost over 15,000 acreages of land in that particular county, then there must be something fishy that is happening behind the scenes, which is causing these people to fight one another. I submit, Dr. Masanga.
Thank you very much. Miriam, any more comments?
Well, I think the issue as it is now, because it's not the first time that these skirmishes are being experienced in this area of the country. And according to the past events, they usually happens running towards elections. So this is, you cannot rule out politics. Politics is really at play right now, as much as there is to do with land ownership and some historical factors. But I think politicians are taking advantage of this and try to fuel this conflict. And now, from what we've been seeing, it's like a community is targeting other communities. And I think that is a very dangerous path that we must avoid by all means possible, even as we look forward towards our next general election. So I think the Interior Cabinet Secretary has gotten a hold of this matter, and the government of Kenya, and I'm not worried. And I was just watching the news around 1 p.m. and the government has encouraged Kenyans to go back, and they'll be offered protection. The schools will be open tomorrow, and a lot of them don't have really another place to go, so they will go back. So I think I'm not worried. I know the government of Kenya will deal with this matter decisively, hopefully.
What about the element of M16 guns? Who brought them there?
That is also a factor.
No, Miriam, go ahead.
I'm saying that is also a factor. And as I'm sure we don't have all the details, but I'm quite sure the government is investigating all these factors that have culminated toward the skirmishes and the chaos and the killings and the burnings that we've seen in the last few days there in Laikipia. So I'm sure in the next few days we'll get the details and we'll know perhaps what is really happening. And these guns that are not even used in this country, what are they from? So we'll know.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor. Your phone is interfering. Please. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, viewers. Those are Kenyan news. And then now we switch on to the main topic of the day. And our main topic of the day is very clear. Miriam always reads these topics better than myself. So Miriam, read the topic for us, please.
All right, so I will start. Our main topic for today is Africa heading to a crisis for lack of a redemption strategy. And we'll start with Kenya. And of course, President Uhuru Kenyatta started stated that the deep ethnic divisions of the country would end when BBI is implemented ahead of the 2022 general election. And elsewhere, ODM leader Raila Odinga also declared that time was right for Kenyans to either continue on with current ethnic chaos after every electioneering period or embrace unity for the common good of all citizens. So basically what I had Raila talk about yesterday, we must have a redemption if our country should know peace in the near future.
I think I leave it to you people to talk on that with Songa. Miriam, thank you very much for opening it up, a redemption, a strategy. But before I allow further discussion, I think let me explain what a redemption strategy is. From 2014, when the first case of ICC collapsed, I have been very much at the forefront to make sure that I make people understand what a redemption strategy is. Remember in Uganda from 1985, we had been having wars and wars and wars, in particular Eastern and Northern Uganda. We got internal displaced people. We got the LRA killing people. We got the UPA killing people, fighting with the NRM and the UPDF. We had to devise a method. Most of us who sat down as Ugandans, we saw the chance to bring our country together, to look at our country, however bad the war had been, however dangerous the war, the wounds, the scars, the rape, the abductions had been. Most of us who sat in Juba, that sunshine when Juba had no toilet, when they had no shops, no good hotels to sleep in, we slept in the tents. From 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, trying to hammer out what is the best way for our country, Uganda. Believe me or not, I'm proud. I'm a proud Ugandan today. I'm a proud human being today because I took part in that process of redemption. The process of redemption that brought about, what is redemption? Redemption is accountability, truth-telling, restitution, reparation, reconciliation, and finally, the healing. It consists of a healing process. So when you heal, which everybody now is talking about, realizing it is very important in Kenya at the moment to heal than to go on an election. Because the type of mouth, the type of social media, the type of Facebook, the type of Twitter, the type of rallies that we are holding today, don't give us a peaceful election. I want to tell you that I bumped into the chairman for the first time in how many years? 4 years I bumped into chairman of Chabukati, this time face to face. I had no escape route. And we had to do what we call sit down and do peace talks as people from one place. Because we have been accusing each other. So I was in a hotel where chairman of Chabukati was also there. And we faced this serious situation. He was concerned equally about these elections under this atmosphere. We discussed at length some things that I can't discuss. But it is serious, Miriam, that if we want to go the route we are going, in Uganda we decided if we want to get peace completed, whether Konyi and the other commanders don't come, we must first pass amnesty law. We got an amnesty law, The law of amnesty allowing the rebels, allowing the generals that you see, the younger men that you see today in Mogadishu medium. 3/4 of the guys fighting in Mogadishu today, Miriam, are former members of the Lord Resistance Army. They agreed to join the UPDF. That is called restitution. They did not want to go for reparation. They went for restitution, to return the life. Those who wanted to go to continue with the military, they were absorbed. And I want to take this opportunity, Miriam, to thank President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. It rarely comes out of my mouth, but let it come out of the mouth so that Wesonga can know that I can forgive. Then we can move on. I want to thank him for having agreed to be part and a parcel of the peace process first. Because the president never liked to be. My president never had no chance of any discussion with anybody who picks up a gun and goes to the bush. But we had to convince His Excellency, the president, that there is goodwill on behalf of the rebels to sit down in Juba to hammer out a course than to have armed Ugandan UPDF soldiers combing the whole forest of southern Sudan, which was not even manned by anything in this situation. The president agreed. President Museveni, thank you very much for that. And I want to take the opportunity to thank the people, the UN, the United Nations, the European Union, the African Union, the IGAD, the East African Community, SADC, all ECOWAS, all these were observer missions. They were observer missions. As observer missions, they sat on the committee, they observed our discussions. Miriam and the panel, the rest of you, we came out with a redemption strategy. But before you make peace, I want to make it very clear. There are two types of people. I've already written it, and I think Wesonga has already said, I think I should have become a bishop. I preached very early in the morning at 5 a.m. There was Peter and Judas. Judah and Peter. Miriam, if you look at it, and I ask a question today, you are a Christian, let me begin by asking you. Between Peter and Judas, whom would you forgive?
I think we're all forgiven, but
yes,
because even Peter betrayed, was disloyal when he said he did not know Jesus after the cock crew 3 times, and Judas betrayed him. So it's interesting.
Yeah, think about it. Say something more. I want to hear from you. If I come to the professor of theology,
I think Peter, because Peter's intentions were always right, although he did not do things right, but his intentions were always pure, I think.
So you would forgive who?
I think I would forgive. That's hard. I would forgive probably Peter.
Okay, hold it there. Professor Gerard Onyari. Sir.
Yes.
The professor of theology yourself. Between Peter and Judas, whom would you forgive?
Peter, he feared the consequences, which might be before him, if he is identified that he was one of Jesus' disciples. Judas betrayed Jesus Christ as a threat, and he gave Jesus out to be killed. So there is no better sin or bigger sin. For the sake of the debate, you will seem to forgive Peter because Peter feared for his life. But the other one, he betrayed him being given money, and he knew what would happen to Jesus. And in any event, he knew that Jesus, by the miracles he has performed, he may defend himself. But I will forgive Peter. Betrayal is such a want to betray you.
Okay, thank you very much. Hold it there. Wesonga.
Yes, Dr. Masanga, I think for me, I'll look beyond and maybe look at the side of Judas. You know, also the Bible tells us that immediately Judas betrayed Jesus, he actually regretted it and he committed suicide. So to me, this is someone who actually realized the kind of mistakes he made, and therefore he saw it as not something quite good he had done by betraying his master. So, but when you look at Peter, I don't know if there is any mention where they say there is a regret for him denying Jesus. But for Judas, immediately he did it. He actually showed some remorsefulness and some regret over it. So to me, I think I'll go with Judas, because that is the man who deserves actually the mercy of the master, because after doing something bad, actually they realize actually whatever we've done is not very right, and that is what makes that story.
Okay. All of you have been explaining a redemption strategy. But it has consequences. Miriam and the Professor Nyari are correct. Wesonga, you are at the extreme. When you are doing a peace process in redemption, you must take away the bad tomatoes, put them aside. What made it Peter to get out the sword later on? Is it Peter who got the sword and cut somebody?
Yes.
But Peter had to protect the gospel ahead. Peter looked ahead. Peter looked ahead. Have you seen that? Onyari and Miriam, you are right on that. He looked ahead. He said, if now they say, all of us, the Roman centurion, the Roman guards wanted to take anybody. The Romans wanted to take anyone associated with Jesus. But Peter said, for a tough soldier, you want to save your commander, or you want to continue with the commanding that your commander has been taken. You must be skillful by saying, no, I don't know. And then have exit fast. So Peter was looking for exit with Wesonga. And he had to exit fast. We can bring it back if you are found in a place where there is a dead body. You go and touch it. And or you wait. If the police say, who saw this dead body? That's why, like in a place like London, when somebody has an accident has happened, most people in London don't stop to witness. Some good Samaritans like us from Africa, we get out to take our shirts and tie these guys, but you know very well that your day is spoiled. Because now you could become the first suspect of the scene. You become the suspect of the scene. They begin to suspect. The police ask you more questions than even the man who had murdered the person and gone away, maybe flown out of the country. You can spend even a holiday in the police station. But Peter had to find all of every reason to resuscitate the movement of Jesus Christ later on. And I say, if I say I am the one, it means the gospel will stop. Remember, the killing of Jesus was God's wish. It was made by God, and the spirits came to talk to people. God wanted to show us two types of people. The one where Songa is fighting for, who had intention, he had money, he wanted money. So that one, first of all, you take him out and leave him to go, not to spoil your discussion. You get my point? When you are doing a peace process and you find some people on the table wanting to cut the deal under the table by money, you get them out. And say either you are removed from the negotiating line, like we did in Juba. We found that the first committee where we are, our chairman and other people wanted money to cut money with the Uganda government, and with some individual whose name I cannot mention here on TV, and the sale of the troops instead of negotiating peace, which is permanent. That's why some of us came back and managed to solve 5 agenda, signed. Forget about the last agenda is not important. The last signature of Museveni, I have it on the document. Konyi didn't sign. It doesn't matter to us. We had got what we wanted, the basic structure. Let's talk like the judges of Kenya, the basic structure of movement. That now you can implement this in northern Uganda. You can give people amnesty. You can allow the LRA to go back. You can allow the FARC rebels of Colombia to return. You can now allow those who killed Stephen Bantu Biko to say and come and say, we killed him, but you forgive us. A redemption strategy needs forgiveness. It needs reconciliation. Peter knew he would reconcile later. Peter knew he would be forgiven. Actually, if you read further the disciples, the scriptures will tell you Peter went ahead and spread the kingdom. The word of Jesus Christ, the word of the kingdom of the Father, than any of the disciples. But the man who sold out because of 12 pence cents, found that there was no other expansion of the kingdom of God. He had to look for a rope. And have you ever heard of Judah being written anywhere? Nowhere. So in a redemption strategy, the one we have, Kenya needs to come out to look for the good and the bad apples. Who are the bad apples in the Kenyan scenario, for example? The people pointing fingers at each other. Who is this who does not want peace? You must isolate elements of peace, anti-peace elements. Those who don't want peace are many. You can now see them. There are people who don't want. Actually, you can classify Waiguru as a person who does not want peace at all. Because Waiguru is moving from every team to say, I don't want Raila in the mountain. Raila has no support. The BBI was very bad. That is an element you remove from the table. You wouldn't like to have such an element to come in a redemption strategy medium to spoil the entire redemption. If you are looking for redemption, you need somebody to encourage the redemption. You need somebody who will say, I am willing to talk for the sake of my country. Does Kenya need that situation? And the media looking at Kenya, the 5 prongs that you have, where do you think we can begin from? If we don't do them, can we hold a free and a fair, transparent elections? Miriam.
Well, I think there are critical issues that we must address as a country before we look even into having a free, fair, and credible, and all that pertains a good election next year. Issues that are legitimate, that even the IEBC itself has raised. We have to look at now these chaos that are also already started ensuing as we head towards our electioneering period. These are things that we have to address as a country, and a lot of them, they come from way, long time ago, and they have not been addressed. That we really must address and when we keep sweeping them under the rug, and it's like we keep postponing a problem, but we don't address it. So I think it's about time as a country we started having these very critical and important and uncomfortable conversations and see, should we have a good election into the future? Should we have an election where all Kenyans can be satisfied, whether your person won or lost the elections, but we can still come together and be one as Kenyans and have a more cohesive country? Then some of these things must be addressed. So I think we can't run away from the fact that we must talk about these issues if we are to be guaranteed free, fair, and verifiable, and all the other wonderful things that we look forward to seeing during our elections in this country.
Thank you very much. I think I concur with you. Time has come. You cannot hold a free and a fair election without looking at Professor Onyari. Before I bring in Wesonga, there you are, the whole story of Kenya. Judas, Peter, you got it right. You would actually deal with Peter more than dealing with Judas. But Wesonga has a view that he would heal Judas. Judas Iscariot had intentions to kill until he comes out to say, I'm sorry. Do you deal with him, Nyali?
Thank you, Dr. Masonga, for that narrative you brought. And I need to tell Wesonga that how do you forgive someone who has killed himself? He's not there to forgive. He had already killed himself. How do you forgive? At least Peter Reeve tomorrow. No, not for that. Let me just comment, Dr. Masanga. I've been in Kenyan scene for some time. I have seen what happened in this country into the advent of the multi-party democracy, Dr. Masanga. This manners of rand classes, of displacing people started in 1991, and it proceeded to recall 1997, Dr. Masanga. But what I wanted to say that the mistakes which we did in 1992, we were able to cure it in 1997 under IBBG, Interparliamentary Group, Dr. Masanga. But at least we had some changes to our electoral commission and to our electoral laws. 2002, Mzee was retiring and he was ready to go home. We didn't have much problem, Dr. Masanga. 2007, 2008, it is very recent, and every one of us can remember we had post-election violence in this country, which was due to disputed presidential election, Dr. Masanga. We had friends, we had people coming in like the Gregor report, which we have said every now and again it needs to be expunged, but they to be sleeping on the job. Then out of that, Masanga, we were able to do 2010 Constitution. When we had in 2013, Dr. Masanga, we had already had some structure. We had set a Supreme Court where a presidential petition will be taken, which was not there in 2007, 2008. Because people did not have confidence in our judiciary, Dr. Masanga. 2017, Dr. Masanga, we had a problem. And it has not been addressed. The Supreme Court pointed some things which need to be done. It has not been done. I'm sure you have said you were able to to meet on one-on-one with the chairman of IPC, Dr. Masanga, you at least had a few things to edge him. From where I sit, it was a good thing for this country. We identified things which need to be done. The judges of the judiciary was not very supportive. Dr. Masanga, in the storm and the waves in the oceans, we must find ourselves and how we navigate. So I entirely agree with you. And with the rest of the viewers what Miriam has said, that if there is another time that we need a redemption strategy, Dr. Masanga, it is now. And for every first question, Dr. Masanga, why could someone not want inclusivity? Why could someone want to have divisive election, Dr. Masanga? Why could someone want to perpetuate corruption, Dr. Masanga? Why do you want to continue marginalizing people, Dr. Masanga? Why do you want to exclude women, the youth from the realms to the mainstream of the politics of this country, Dr. Masanga? So from where I sit, why should one not be able to have shared responsibility and shared resources on what we have in this country? So that is what BBI was trying to address. And what I listened, the Prime Minister say yesterday that him and President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, they are committed in uniting this country. And come rain, Shansa and Dr. Masanga, BPI will be implemented. It's just a matter of time. That's what will take this country forward. And if you think we are ranked, see what happened. What happened in Laikipia? Some 10 tribes, Dr. Masanga were being chased from there. Their houses, their properties were being destroyed. So it means this country has not healed. So the fact, of course, we have gone there. We will use the Kenya Defense Forces to suppress those people, Dr. Masanga. But we need, as peace and conflict experts and people, Dr. Masanga, those of us who embrace peace, we must have the views. Why should someone go there to incite those people and to give them guns? And that's why even BBI was trying to say that we want to move resources from the center to the periphery. We want to move it from 15% to 35%. So Dr. Masanga, free. We have given them the enough tutorials. They need to embrace redemption strategy. And that's why sometimes I say, why do I get this man, the deputy president, who seems to be very frustrated? So that I will say that Dr. Masanga, this country we will go and we leave it behind. The best we can do to Kenya or some country in Africa is to leave them peacefully, Dr. Masanga. And the redemption strategy is the way. We need to have accountability. We need to have reconciliation, reparations, Dr. Masanga. We need to have hearing so that we can see our people that we are Kenyans. I submit.
Yes, thank you very much, Professor Jared Onyari. And I'm being told by the production team that you need to adjust a bit of your headroom. Yes, I think we can get it back to Miriam Ogutu to take us to our next, maybe.
No, Wesonga, we wanted your view on the Kenyan before you cross over to. Yeah, that is the explanation of Kenya. We are then crossing over to South Africa.
All right, sorry, Dr. Masanga David. Okay, I think after fellow panelists have actually cascaded the contest of that particular symbolism, perhaps I'll have nothing other than crossing the bus and boarding these other bus, because I believe in Kenya we do have a very, very big problem, and we actually know who the Judas in Kenya is, and he can't stop at anything other than making sure that he actually propels his 2022 agenda. And that is why you have been talking about the redemption strategy. And yesterday when I was actually watching the former Prime Minister, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, talking about him healing and peace. I actually saw you in the picture because these are topics you've actually been talking about. And for the longest time, even when people were talking about the BBI process and how it was going to be scheduled and all that, you did not shy away from saying that the BBI process actually should be peace-driven process and not a political process. And therefore, I believe while you are talking about this, I believe there are some people who are listening about your message. You are like that hummingbird in the forest, which was talking about peace, unity, and prosperity. And of course, as Professor Jared Onyari says, we're going to have the BBI agenda being implemented. Even if the courts will throw it out, I believe we shall have a leader who will be able to carry forward the gospel of BBI. And that is why I had the proponents of BBI talk about having a president who will succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta, who will be able to make sure that the BBI is implemented in the coming days. And I believe that is the same message that Christ and Peter actually had. Long after the passing away of Jesus Christ on the cross, actually Peter is the one who started the church, building the first altar in Antioch for the gospel of Christ. So in that regard, allow me to cross the fence and come on your side, and that is in regards to that particular parable. So I submit, Dr. Matsanga, that Kenya needs a redemption strategy. I believe that is a topic you have been very, very quite clear on it, quite candid, and the message is already home. I won't talk much about it because I'll actually be now deriding and maybe diluting whatever you have talked about. I submit.
Thank you very much, Doug, Sean Wesonga, and thank you very much, Miriam. Thank you very much, Professor Onyari. In summary, the Kenyan model must, let's avoid, and let me repeat again, let me repeat here. BBI is a healing process, bridging bridges, building bridges. It is not a political process. The moment you turn it into a political process, you get a snag, you get a wall, you get a cul-de-sac, which is commonly used by revolutionaries like Miguna. You know, cul-de-sac, and the wall break, you can't break through. So I said it, that BBI is not a political process. The moment you turn it into a political process, you lose it. I want to thank the president. I want to thank the former prime minister, who are the main pushers of the BBI, to have realized that it is a healing process. And let's begin healing. What is it in the healing in Kenya that you need? Miriam, be frank. Onyali, be frank. My dear brother, Wesonga, be frank. You drive towards Malaba, and you stop in a bus or your car. Look this side in Tarubo, or look in Banti Forest. There you are, there is a house you used to live in for 60 years. You are producing your children there. They all know that you were born there. But there's somebody cooking and the smoke. The smoke is coming out of the house. And their cows, you can see them on the hill. You can see the cows on the hill, grazing, the evening sunshine beaming on the cows, yours. Some of them might have been your cows. And sincerely speaking, you are the loser. You have nowhere. And back in Nairobi, you are staying in an SQ of a friend whom you pay. SQs are called what? Boys' quarters or servants' quarter? where you are staying and you are paying some money. How do you feel? Miriam, how do you feel? Just a quick answer. How do you feel?
It's not good. And Doc, it's not just the burnt forest. When I go to my village, I drive through around Molo and such areas, and the images of what happened in 2007, 2008 are still quite present there. There are houses that were never rebuilt again. There are shops that were never rebuilt again. Owners disappeared from that area. So I think, these are issues that we must be relooked and must be talked about. There are people who are still hurting. There are people who have never moved on. So there are Kenyans who are still hurting.
Exactly. Wesonga.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Masanga. That to me will mean very simple thing, and I'll go by your ingredients of a healing process and redemption strategy. It will mean that we have no restitution, we have no accountability, we have no repatriation, and that is why you can see someone enjoying your goodies, your houses, and your land, and there's nothing you can do about it. I submit.
And then. Professor Onyali, thank you very much for that point. Restitution. When we did the Uganda peace process, I brought back 26,000 people. LRA combatants. I brought them, they are back in Uganda. Some accepted to restitute themselves by joining the Uganda People's Defense Forces. And they are officers, high-ranking officers. They are playing a role serving their country. That is what we call a redemption. You have redempted yourselves. The Kenyan scenario, it was a political machination. It wasn't a peace process, a redemption. Onyari.
Dr. Masanga, you know, I am a victim of this. We were displaced almost, it's going to 30 years ago. We have never gone back to our farms. And the people are regressing in our farms. Dr. Masanga, we know there will never be peace without justice. There will never be peace without truth telling. There will never be peace without reconciliation. And this one, what we do in this country, Dr. Masanga, is just lip service. Dr. Masanga, the leaders just come and they greet themselves and they think that they have done it. That's why the Prime Minister and the President, Dr. Masanga, went ahead of saying that we need preachers, Dr. Masanga. We need to go to the core underlying issues facing this country, Dr. Masanga. And we want, even if we want to forgive people, we want to see whom we are forgiving, and at least they have become remorsive. They don't become remorsive and eventually, just like Judas Iscariot, Dr. Masanga. So I see it. If you took people's property, Miriam has told you as she goes to Pant Forest, you will see people never went back. So what kind of reconciliation and restitution are we talking about? If we don't come around the table, and we were doing it through PPI, Dr. Masanga, saying that never again should this happen in this country. You know, when the president and the deputy president were coming together, they said, never again should a Kenya kill each other out of an election, Dr. Masanga. We have not gone for an election, but you can see what happened. We are going to hearing. I submit, Dr.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Janet Onyani. A redemption strategy is always very important. In 1977, 12 September, the apartheid regime of South Africa killed Stephen Bantu, or Bantu Stephen Biko, assassinated, arrested, driven all the way from Pretoria to Johannesburg, or one of those routes. By the time he arrived, he was dead. This day, why I brought in redemption is to look at the South African model. South Africans came out and opened their hearts. Those who were apartheid intelligence officers, police officers, commanding officers, politicians who ordered killings, those who killed their neighbors. The situation worked. It became quiet. South Africa created a rainbow country. Today, South Africa remains a nation held hostage. Did it heal? My question, did South Africa heal? Did we get a rainbow country of a structure of politics, but we didn't get the structure of accountability? Did accountability occur in South Africa? Did it occur with Songa? Did it occur Jared Onyari? Did we have accountability by coming out to say, I killed Stephen Bantu Biko, I am here? And the family of Stephen Bantu Biko says, we forgive you. Let's look at Gajaja courts across in Rwanda. Kagame has done it so well. I think the production team can show you the bicycles. That in Kigali, you can leave the bicycle and the people will not steal it. I want you to be honest, Miriam, between me and you. Leave those bicycles on Kenyatta Avenue. Leave them there. And walk. Come back if you can find 10 of them there. Have we healed? Have we healed? Get 2 cows or 3 cows and leave them in Uhuru Park. You will not find them. You will find them dead. And the meat taken. Have we healed? In Kigali today, believe me or not, in Kigali, bicycles are left. I saw an example today. He has brought in bicycles where you ride from one area and lock it and leave and go. This is because there was a redemption strategy, a healing process. Kagame managed to bring the Hutu and the Tutsi, those who killed, to say, we killed. Not those who killed and committed suicide like Judas. But the people who stayed and said, we did kill. Did South Africa heal? Miriam, take the topic for us.
All right, Doc, I think you've introduced it so well, so I don't think I will want to read what I had, but perhaps just to continue from where you've left and the good examples you've given on comparing South Africa and Rwanda, you can tell Rwanda truly failed, and anything that can trigger the country back to the genocide we experienced, I don't think any Rwandese would even encourage that. I think that made them more patriotic, that made them they came together and they were able to forgive because they held those sessions, they talked, people opened up, the ones who went to jail, others were forgiven, and the country was able to have that very uncomfortable conversation that I think we need here in the country, and they were able to truly move forward as a country. So today, Rwanda has become a beacon of hope for the rest of us, and an example of what can be if a country truly comes together for the good of its own people. And when you look at South Africa, I think after apartheid, what happened there is the black leadership that came into power, I think, continued with apartheid, but in a different manner. So the years that took place during apartheid, the minority rule, were not really addressed. The segregation was not really addressed. Even today, there are areas in South Africa, you can't find a black South African living there, still left to the white elite. That's still, and it's still in South Africa. So these things are still rampant. So there was a blanket, forgiveness. There was a blanket moving on in a country, and yet these are people who are, who are hurt. These are people who are marginalized. These are people who had so many issues, the Black South Africans, that were never really, addressed. So they embraced forgiveness and they moved on, but the issues stayed. And that's what we see today in South Africa, a country that is truly polarized. And so they keep taking on their anger on other Africans from other African countries and when you see the chaos that we saw, the looting, when former President Jacob Zuma was taken to jail. These are just symptoms of a society that really has things that are not sitting very well with them, and issues that must be addressed. So in South Africa, healing never took place. The South Africans are still stuck so many years back, even before they got their liberation. So they're still stuck there because no healing took place. But in Rwanda, we can see that healing took place, and we can see how the country is flourishing today.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Just anchoring on that point, last night, the president of Estonia carried her own luggage. We are looking at a healing process. People have healed. You know, the Central Europe had a lot of changes of communism, people coming down, realizing from a scratch. If you could listen to this lady explaining how the digital systems, the cyber, the internet has changed the lives of Estonians. And then, as if that was not enough, she carried her own luggage. How? And it is now talk of the town. But it is part of the healing process. You know, leadership is healing. You heal and wait. You do things that not to please, not to go and tell people, I've given you money, I want you to do this. She was chosen while she was at home. She sold her manifesto to people. There is a will of the people to change a society. Estonia is one of the small countries in Central Europe, but very powerful because they take a stand. You can see in the United Nations Security Council, Estonia was chosen among the European countries because there's no corruption there. There is no internally displaced IDPs. Everybody has been restituted. The little that is available. You are born like this in a hospital, you are registered. Miriam, I want to tell you, there are people here who have not even registered their children. Am I wrong? Yet they were born in Pumani Hospital. You only give birth in Pumani and that's the end of it. The lady was explaining to you that we register every child on phone. It's very easy for us to do. But because people have no redemption, when the Uduma number was brought, tell me the politician who was the first one to say they are eating the money. It was Ruto and a group. Am I wrong? Ruto went around and told people that Uduma number is, they will know how many girlfriends you have. And you can see, he's also found, you know, that all your data will be known. And this is Murukomen. These are senior people who have studied law. Yet Uduma number now in Europe, you cannot enter without a number. Very soon passports will be useless. Showing a passport at the entry point will be not worth it. Mine here, if my iris, is it called iris? Yes, not Irish. Iris is broken. I will be stopped at Heathrow Airport. When I reach Heathrow Airport, I take off these glasses and I stand there. They will tell me yes, because they came and took this picture. So you can't steal my passport and move with it. the eyes will not match with the central point. So it is digital. It saves a lot of money. You don't need immigration officers, you need machines. So we have not yet redempted. We have not come to a redemption strategy where we can say, I am doing this for the sake of my country. Everything in Kenya, in Uganda is money. When I came here in 2007, when I started standing for Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto against the ICC, people thought I was getting money. Miriam, you remember, people, and you are one of the journalists, people thought that this man is highly paid. But if you ask President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, they will never tell you that he paid Matangle coin. I was with the Nyachama, Professor Onjari, when we were lecturing over 6,000 students. I went there for a lecture for almost 3 hours with Chisangani, Professor Chisangani, who told me that Ruto should go to jail. You remember that statement? But today, when you look at Chisangani, where is he? He's Ruto's chief political strategist. So, have we redempted? We haven't. Have we restituted our lives? We haven't. Have the people who left the Rift Valley restituted their lives? No. Go to a nightclub in Nairobi, in Kenya, because of COVID. If you want to do a research, try to pour beer on somebody's shoe, and then you see they look at you. We have not yet forgiven each other. In fact, the look alone can make you even break your own beer glass and throw it down. Because the guy could be huge, bigger than Matanga. Then you have a problem. When he looks at you like this, you can't even throw the food if you are eating. You don't know whether it's coming to beat you. It's a simple mistake. You were passing under something dropped on the shoe. The man looks at you and said, look at this man. This country needs a healing. You cannot take this country to an election again without that. If you take this country to an election, the way it is now, believe me, Jesus Christ, today is Sunday, we shall have a very big problem. South Africa is not healed. South Africa remains the biggest problem of Africa because we only got political healing, but not accountability. You can't tell me that the family of Stephen Bantu Biko is happy, whose child was murdered. A man who had got several degrees from several universities, ready to serve South Africa, was able to be flawed, dead, killed because of apartheid. So we must have mechanisms of changing situations in Africa, in Kenya, in East Africa, in Rwanda, in Uganda. In Uganda, the northern part of the country, Miriam, is healed, completely healed. Not a single gun. None of the soldiers, the boys that I brought back over 100,000 men, and the women and the children brought back as their chief negotiator and the leader of the delegation that went to discuss under the auspices of the United Nations Security Council. I am the happiest man that today none of the commanders of the Lord Resistance Army who, restituted himself into UPDF. You have seen the good job they were doing in Mogadishu, isn't it? They were the best boys in Mogadishu. They defeated Al-Shabaab. very good fighters. They have never changed. They have never turned against the peace process because we did a redemption strategy. Those who wanted to go and do business with them, we gave them money. They were given money by the government of Uganda. They give you iron sheets to go and look for, to build your house. They give you money to start your petrol station. About 60 of them have the best petrol stations, earning huge money than most of us, built good houses. That is the healing process that lacked in Kenya. If you find it, most of the people today, look at Professor Nyari, look at Miriam is telling you tomorrow when he's going home. People, the homes have grown grass. People have not returned. Who is the owner of this land? Somebody is cooking food in your house where you had your children, and your children ask you, Daddy, why are we sleeping here? But there's a smoke coming from your own home. Have you healed? So the healing process is very important. South Africa did not. Kenya needs to heal. I agree. I told them, don't turn this into a political process. Let it be a healing process. A redemption strategy or BBI should not, and I repeat, should not mention political positions. I teach political science the highest level. I've taught some of the students, I see them smiling, and I believe Wesonga is soon going to smile with another master's degree. That is very important for me. But you cannot just leave the thing hanging like that. You can't mention anything like we shall take this post. And I thank the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, and the President. They have now come out to say this is a healing process. It's not for us to grab seats or positions. It is a healing process. And that is what we should always look at. Thank you. Finally, we come to Nigeria. Wanyali, do you have anything else to say? Oh, we have done very well so far.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that Africa is not here because the leaders who followed Mandela were very committed. And what I need to say on this, that one day Mandela was having lunch with the widows of those people of the apartheid leaders, Dr. Masaka. One of the channels to him, why do you find time to have lunch and enjoy with these people who put you in jail for 10,000 days? Nelson Mandela said to say that he has got no time to think about revenge. He has got time to think on how to build a united South Africa. So after giving the foundation of building a united South Africa, because unity and democracy is a process. It's not one day event. We can't wake up one day and we say that we let us have unity. It is just a process. It takes for us to trust each other. It takes people to come and be accountable. And you see the leaders, Mbeki, Nzuma, Ramaphosa now, what have they just come, Dr. Masranga? South Africa is experiencing the worst moment of corruption. So in this, as you have said, the Prime Minister and the President of the Republic of Kenya, they have realized that the healing process, Dr. Masranga, we need to heal. All the things which were done during the apartheid regime in South Africa, both for the whites and the blacks, Dr. Masanga, people must come and own up. You can't kill my father, you kill my mother, and then you come forward and say, let us have unity. No. We must speak each other, we tell each other the truth, Dr. Masanga, because we cannot live in hatred. It is high time that we have this thing behind us. And that's what the foundation Mandela gave, but very unfortunate. As a leader, he did his speech, took for 5 years, Mandela moment, he finished and he passed on, and we still remember him, we are quoting him. So my appeal to South Africa, Dr. Masanga, is See how they have been against the other black people. They think the Nigerians, the Kenyans, and other African people, the Ugandans, the Tanzanians, when we were so much committed in saying that South Africa will never be free until South Africa. You see what they were doing after the day? Are those people who are forgiven? Are those people who have healed, killing their fellow Africans? So a redemption strategy, Dr. Masanga, is needed across the continent of Africa. People need to be accountable to what they have done. People need to forgive each other. We need to reconcile. We need to speak the truth. And then eventually we will heal and we move forward and take this country and the continent forward. That's my submission, Dr. Masanga.
Thank you very much. I don't think Nsonga has anything more to add now. Okay, finally, in the next 10 minutes, let's look at Nigeria. Nigeria faces similar problems, challenges, obstacles, because the leadership of Nigeria has failed to know whether Nigeria's problem is political or not. But basically, the Nigeria problem is the lack of, from 1967 onwards, the leaders who came to power lacked the strategies of putting together the nation that had broken into several camps, as the Igbo, the General Ojukwu, and the General Yakubu Gowon fought a war. We did not have reconciliation, which was not genuine. We did not have forgiveness, which was not genuine. There was none. The killers of 1967 appeared again to be the men who took power again successive years. Look at what happened after General Aronzi took over power. How many Igbos were killed? Those wounds have not healed. Nigeria finds itself at the center of kidnapping ring. It's a kidnap state. Every time you wake up about Nigeria is a pity. Africa needs to cry and weep. Nigeria is a state, it's a country where God comes, weeps, but doesn't drop tears. I wish God drops tears one day. A whole country, a generation of women do not find girls present in Nigeria in years to come. Because girls are being kidnapped, taken by Boko Haram, taken to ISIS for training. Some are being killed. We have a problem here. It is therefore very, very important that we look at this as an aspect of an African redemption strategy. Does Nigeria need a political process, or Nigeria needs a healing process? To me, my answer, Miriam, is Nigeria needs a political process to solve its problem. The question of arresting, kidnapping, and taking people, leaders who stand up to say, we need a referendum or we need this, does not help the Nigerian government. I therefore urge them to stand up and use the chance to redeem it. If you look at Nigeria, compare it, come across to South Sudan, which is the favorite subject of Madame Miriam, it's very clear that time and time again, Miriam, I've told you that the arrangement in South Sudan is a political arrangement. It can't work. Now you believe you can again say, Matanga told us. I told you, the main component of a redemption strategy in South Sudan was left out. Accountability. Most of the people you see in the streets of Nairobi don't know where their fathers and mothers and sisters and the brothers went. They don't know who killed them. They don't know Onyari. They don't know Wesonga. They don't know. That accountability keeps on haunting the peace process. My suggestion on the question of South Sudan was to have a hybrid tribunal, a tribunal that will now force people to come and say, I am sorry, I led this army, it killed people, but we are back together. It will never happen again. It has not happened. And therefore, we are staring at more and more of conflicts coming and coming from these regions, especially Nigeria, South Sudan. We have in Somalia. We need to bridge the difference because there is no healing. Redemption strategy in Nigeria, in Somalia, is lacking. Prime Minister 1 goes, resigns. Prime Minister 2 is about to resign. Isn't it time for the President, Farimajo, also to step down? You need healing. A redemption strategy is needed everywhere across Africa. I am glad that Zimbabwe has taken one step, that the leader of opposition now has accepted to shake hands with Emerson Mnangagwa to create a harmonious situation for the people of Zimbabwe. That is the way forward for Africa. Any comments as I close? Miriam, your parting shot.
I think that, Doc, you've exhausted the topic this afternoon. But on the issue of Nigeria also, I think it's dealing with its problem and its internal conflicts in a similar fashion. So perhaps we deal with here in Kenya or even in South Africa, because if people are agitating, and when you listen to the issues that groups like the IPOB or the IGPOHO or other communities there, because it's not just the IPOB that wants to secede from Nigeria. There are other 2-3 other communities that feel left out, that feel they're not part of the bigger picture of Nigeria, that feel marginalized, that feel they're not included, their voices don't matter, and now they're seeking to leave the country. You can't keep on, assuming these are issues that are not weighty and you sweep them under the rug thinking that it will go away. Instead, we've seen that has made people like the IPOB or other groups really want to continue with the agitation. So Nigeria has to reconcile with itself, reconcile with its past. They're living as if 1967 did not happen. They're living as if those people did not die then. And that marked a very important part of the history of that country. But the subsequent leaderships act as if this does not matter. That matters, and what happened during that period and what has continued to happen today, I think matters, and it's about time Nigeria reconciled its past with its present, so that they're able to charter the future of Nigeria in whichever way that future might look like. It might look like other groups might want to have their referendum and decide their own fate in terms of having their own country, or it might mean a united Nigeria. But nevertheless, they have to talk about these issues. Sweeping them and, clobbering people and killing people will not make the issues go away. I think that is perhaps the takeaway that I'd like to leave with this afternoon. Sweeping things under the rug, even here in Kenya, has not solved the problems. People have not gone back to their, land in Molo, in everywhere else in Kenya. And we do have Professor Onyari here, who has had first-hand, experience with that brutal part of our history, and they've not gone back to their land. So sweeping these matters away will not help it. It's about time that we learned to have honest and uncomfortable conversations like Rwanda did. If we are truly looking for a healing in our country, in a country like Nigeria, in a country like South Africa, and South Sudan is a very unique case. We'll not even get into the details of that, but we must have honest conversations as a people for us to truly heal.
Thank you very much. Honest conversation with the people for us to heal well. Yes. Professor Onyari, and then lastly, the man in the studio can close it for us. But for your information, Archbishop Olesapit has just announced that with effect from today, no politician in Kenya will use any Anglican church for any political or any message which is political. That is the first step of healing process. Thank you. Go ahead and make your final parting shot in 1 minute.
Yes, Dr. Sanga, let me just admit that there's a problem in Nigeria. Indeed, a huge problem in Nigeria. The security and terrorism around the Sahelian region, Dr. Masanga, is really. And let me tell you that the Boko Haram, Dr. Masanga, those people are lethal. Those people are having sophisticated weapons, and Miriam and Dr. Masanga, even when the security officers go there, they take off. So, Dr. Masanga, Nigeria needs a strong leadership. They need to come forward, Dr. Masanga, and chart the way forward. And the way forward is to use the redemption strategy. Let them just be accountable to each other. Let them just forgive each other. Let them just be able to reconcile. Let them be able to allow the people of Biafra to have the referendum, Dr. Masanga, to determine how they want to go. Let them just come forward, Dr. Masanga, and fight the war which is taking place in the northern parts of Nigeria, Dr. Masanga. You cannot isolate people and Dr. Masanga and you expect that things will go well. Unless they just want to assume. You are yet to see what will happen in that country, Dr. Masanga. It's just a matter of time. So still, when there's still time, let them apply the redemption strategy and they will save Nigeria. Southern Sudan, Dr. Masanga, you cannot come forward and Dr. Masanga say now you become a president and you become a vice president, of them, and you just dispute seats to Dr. Masanga and others are watching. Time has come for people of Southern Sudan, Dr. Masanga, to come, all of them, with different views and ideas, Dr. Masanga, to be on the negotiating table, Dr. Masanga. And they need to come and agree and make a government of national unity for a particular time. If it is 2 years, 3 years, whichever they will agree. And then you go for an election and people can be able to elect their leaders. These people sitting in the boardroom, by any event, has Salva Kiir faced an election since he became a president? No. So still they require a redemption strategy at a high level of being accountable to each other, in telling each other the truth. And finally, as I submit, I say that Dr. Masanga, Africa is bleeding. I cannot see any of the leaders whom I can compare like the founding fathers of the continent of Africa, who were the true Pan-Africanists, Dr. Masanga, who were so much committed and they knew where they were taking the continent. The spirits of Chomyata, Milton Obote, Mwalimu Nyerere, Kenneth Kaunda, Joseph Patrick Lumumba, and many more, Ben Bera, Dr. Masanga, that we can be able to remember what Nkrumah started with Dr. Masanga of building a united Africa. He at least dreamed, Dr. Masanga, can we execute that dream by being honest to each other? Thank you. Africa, Dr. Masanga.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Professor Nyati. You have said quite a lot, and all goes in the direction of this redemption authority, a strategy that will lead us to a peaceful Africa. Finally, Mr. Sean Wesonga at the headquarters of Punchline Africa Television, take us away.
Yes.
Across the bridge, there is no sorrow.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Masanga David. And of course, it has been a very, very robust conversation here on Africa. And today I must admit that I've felt as if I've been in a peace and conflict resolution class where I've learned that what Africa needs for now is a redemption strategy. And even though we have been having efforts of resolving the conflicts in Africa, we have been having only cosmetic processes where we do not have accountability, we do not have restitution, and we do not have repatriation. So, and therefore, all we need as the African continent for every specific country that is facing a conflict is to have a very wholesale redemption strategy that encompasses all the facets that are needed to spearhead peace and prosperity. All that said and done, I think, Dr. Masanga, you have been able to capture that particular discussion quite well, and I'll have no other word to add on it other than to call upon all stakeholders here in Kenya, in Nigeria, in South Sudan, and any African country that is facing conflict to go back to your notes and refer to it, to every sentence, to every word. And I believe that will be the remedy for the problems that is facing our continent. I submit.
Thank you very much, Sean. Indeed, it has been a class. Indeed, we started with Peter and Judas until we persuaded you to say we can forgive Peter, but let Judas go. I have not seen any book, Saint Peter, Saint Judas. I have not seen Saint Judas. I agree with you that in conflict, you must separate. Both of them had the same intention, but Peter was reacting, but Judas had a bad heart. He sold Jesus with a bad heart. Ebesha gave money, he wanted cash, like Ruto can want cash at the same with Yadin. What has happened to Mr. Ayadin? Arun Yayed? Why can't they go to Uganda now? Why is Ruto not asking for permission to go to Uganda? He can ask the president that he wants to fly to go and get his money in Kampala. Is the situation in Kampala more not very hot? Miriam, as we leave it here, redemption is always the answer. Forgiveness, reconciliation, accountability, truth-telling, restitution, liberation, all come with one simple word. I am sorry. That's it. I'm sorry. I took over your land. I used it for 10 years. I'm returning it to you. I am very sorry. That word is the best medicine for our continent of Africa. This is Punchline Africa Television. We have been broadcasting our show of Africa Showdown. We see you tomorrow again at 10 o'clock. Miriam, thank you very much. I might be a guest maybe tomorrow in your studios or Tuesday, but take it over, do the necessary as you have been doing. God bless all of you. I'm Dr. David Masanga from the Political Command Center. Thank you very much, all of you.